Hello there, delicious ones. It's lovely to see you. I hope that you are all well and thriving. I am positively glowing after my recent visit to Amora. Not only did I have a wonderful time, but I also stumbled upon a fascinating story. That of Samuel Herren, a dashing ship's captain who died saving his men, but refused to disappear into eternity until he had tasted true love. Would you like to hear what happens to him? Well, fluff up your pillows, moisturize your hands and feet, grab your favorite ice cream, and settle in for the story of the lonely captain's ghost. The lonely captain's ghost. The people say the handsome young sea captain first appeared on the curve of Lansing Bay 200 years after the ship Princessa sank with all hands. Many had passed away when a vicious storm sprang up out of nowhere. 3 hours more, and they'd have been ashore. The vessel tied up in the port at Seaford, while life went on just as it had before. Sadly, the tempest rose. Using the lifeboats, half of the passengers made it away. The captain's skiff was left, but he gave it up to save the married men. He said, "I'll stay. You, all of you, go on. Be with your loved ones. Nobody back on shore will cry for me. Only when you are safe with your families. Then pause and whisper a brief prayer for me." So the crew left, and some made it to the shore, while Captain Herren, with his boat, went down. The current took his body and pulled it deep into the depths where reside those who drown. His soul would not stay, though, in those dim shadows. He'd spoken truth. No one upon the shore would weep for him or miss his loving embrace. But Captain Herren could endure no more, knowing that, despite his courage and his strength, nobody wept to know he died that night. He knew he was dead. He had felt death's anguish. He'd felt himself embraced by clinging spite. Herren had gasped his prayers to God above him, had cried in despair at the drowning pain, but had declared in his soul that, without love, he would not to the grave return again. He emerged onto Lansing Beach in the dawn, a handsome man, tanned by the bright sunlight. By chance, he met a maiden with long red hair, walking her dog after a disturbed night. She saw him struggling upwards through the surf and ran to help him when he stumbled down. They walked up the stones until she could set him on a rough stone bench that looked over the town. She asked him for his name. When he said, "Herren," she said, "Like the captain long ago drowned? They say he was a kind man and a brave one. A storm would have widowed half of the town had he not given up his boat to save them." Of course, that was 200 years and change. The town still remembers and honors him now. But if he saw it, he might find it strange. Herren's mind worked fast, compassing the odd truth. It was a shock. Despite that, Herren smiled. "I think perhaps he might be an ancestor. At least I was told so as a young child. Not a direct link, of course, but an uncle of his is somewhere in my family tree. Sadly, I do not think I share his courage. As you see, I'm confounded by the sea." The lady laughed. "Me too. My name is Nessa. My parents had me and soon passed away. I was raised by my aunt, a coastal artist. She lives up there, beyond the tidal spray. I am an orphan too," Herren admitted. "If I had been caught in that ancient storm, I would have had only myself to think of. not worried for family who would mourn. We two are in the same boat then, Nessa said. And yet, she spoke the words so cheerfully. It was as if their lash had never pained her, or she had come to accept them gladly. Herren would have frowned, but Nessa had charmed him. I'm a cook at the Seal Tavern in town, Nessa told him. Sadly, I'm not very well. Bo here watches me to see I won't drown. When I come out night, walking in the sea mist, I have reason to be glad if today you will allow me to bathe, clothe and clean you, and find such help as will send you away, back to your home. Lady, I'd fain not impose. No imposition. My aunt's down the way. Her name is Arisa. She has a bedroom that she lets out. I have no way to pay. You needn't. I will cover you for a month. After that, we'll have found your kin for you. Or found you a job enough to sustain you. That much I will be pleased to do for you. We've only just met. What if I'm a danger? Arisa's a good judge of character. She discerns clearly where all others are fooled. I'll leave the final decision to her. But for myself, I have a good sense of you. Besides, Bo likes you, and he'd not let me roam so close to a man when he sensed a threat. If both approve you, that will do for me. I do have one question before we go back. I think the town and myself will give blame. Should I bring you home to meet Aunt Arisa before requesting your Christian name? Samuel, Herren said, for my grandfather. Then well met, Samuel, young Nessa said. If you are strong enough, follow me up now, and I'll see if I can gain you a bed. In minutes, they came to a small clapboard house, set in the dunes, overlooking the sea. Its wide bay window shimmered in the sunlight, till the place seemed to smile welcomingly. Nessa's aunt met the young couple at the door, a smiling woman with curling white hair, dressed in a smock, stained with paints of all colors. She seemed surprised to see young Herren there. Aunt, Nessa said, "This man is Samuel Herren. I found him today, washed in from the sea. He has neither food, nor money, nor clothing. I told him you'd look after him for me until we find his people or get him work. I thought that he could take your spare bedroom. I'll cover his rent for him for a short while, so there'll be no money pressure on you." "Do you trust this man, Nessa?" Arisa asked. "I only met him this morning, but yes, he seems kind, only a little low in luck. A state that I can, happily, address. Do you think I would bring him here, to our home, if I doubted he was both good and true? You are my second mother, Aunt Arisa. I never would bring risk or harm to you." Arisa grumbled, but then she hugged Nessa. "I'll trust the boy, since you ask it of me. But just be sure, I will haunt you forever, if I wake up to find he's murdered me." Nessa laughed, and she hugged the woman tightly. "Haunt me as you will, then we'll never part. But do not die until I'm weighted with age. Live to at least 100, that's a start." So, Herren was installed into the spare room, given a fire and a soft clean bed, then sent to soak his bones in a bubbly bath, before he lay to rest his weary head. And Nessa came to him every morning, with fruit, fish, or fresh bread to breakfast on. They chattered over their food, brightly laughing. Sometimes, in truth, young Nessa lingered on, long enough that she was late for work 3 times. The head cook gave her a thorough scolding, but eased when Nessa mentioned Captain Herren. "Visit your young man if you will, poor thing. But make sure you don't shirk your duties again. You're a good girl and should not risk your space. Promise me now that you will be at your hour, and I'll ignore your tardiness took place." Thus instructed, Nessa kept close to her hour. Missing Herren, she simply went early. Her sleep suffered, but the dear girl felt it not. In his presence, she only felt happy. Sadly, research as Nessa and her aunt did, no trace could be found of the family. Of Samuel Herren. Only Herren himself could have known why such an odd thing should be. At first, he'd intended to rest a few days, and then from the coastline to turn away. But every time he laid his eyes on Nessa, he felt more inclined than ever to stay. One night, fair Nessa asked him to go dancing. Despite her pain, she wanted to twirl him around a dance floor made from a small church hall. There was no chance of Herren refusing. He'd only ever known the jigs of sailors. But between the two, they went shambling around the room, supported by the music, each entertained by the other's laughing. When the dance ended, the pair went out walking along the path that ran beside the bay. They stopped at the bench where they'd sat together and talked of his past on their meeting day. Herren looked up at the stars above the waves and at Nessa, her big bright eyes shining, and had to say the words bursting from his heart. "You're a delight. My heart is yours, sweeting." Nessa blinked. "Are you saying that you love me more than I thought that I could love a maid? I see you struggle every day with your pain. Yet you are kind, courageous, unafraid. My heart lifts every time I look at your face. If only I were a sultan or king, I would spoil you with jewels and rich perfumes. For you, in my respect, are everything. I don't need money," Nessa said. "I am used to doing without and to managing. If you truly love me, my illness and all, I do not even need to wear your ring. But come and be with me. Come to my bedroom and allow me to wind you in my arms." Herren stammered. He could not quite form words. In his old life, he'd paid for women's charms and always treated them with gentle kindness. But the mornings after had all been grim, because he'd known that the girl, lithe and lovely, had play acted but did not care for him. Herren said, "never mean to pressure you, nor would I cause your gentle spirit strife. But if I come to your bed, between us two, it would have to be agreed you're my wife." "Then your wife I am," Nessa said. The poor girl embraced Samuel and was kissing him, when some power in the heart of the ocean reached out its claws and sank them into him. Before he knew it, the calm coastline was gone. He was once more in the heart of the storm, upon the deck of his ship. This time, life burned inside of him. His sweet Nessa would mourn if he did not return to land, but he knew how much depended on his frightened men, not only to their loves and their families, but those generations grown up from them. But if he stayed this time, death would not release its iron claws on his body or soul. He'd refused to stay dead without a true love. But now his sweet Nessa had made him whole. Herren wept as he sent his men to safety. He was lashed to the masthead and waiting for the black waves to close over him once more, when, on the land, a bell began to ring, and a light bloomed. Herren cut free, and he dove, maddened with hope, into the boiling waves. He swam, and each time fear near overcame him. The light was there, his weary hopes to save. When he reached the beach, Nessa was there waiting. As she half carried him out of the waves, she said, "I'd guessed you were the noble captain who gave of himself all those lives to save. You once refused to die until you'd tasted love. Tonight, the sea tried hard to reclaim you, but Arisa and I sent out a love light, because I ever always will love you." Subscribe to become a delicious darling. True love conquers all. Anamora, that isn't just a saying, it's a truth. I am so pleased that it proved true for Samuel and Nessa. Today's word for the comments is star-crossed. Write it, then tell me your favorite story of star-crossed lovers. It would mean the world to Apanth and me if you hit like, subscribe, and tap the notification bell to become an official delicious darling. I am taking a trip to Glastonbury tomorrow to attend a Renaissance fair. I have my costume ready and a reservation in a charming and possibly haunted cottage. I will tell you about my adventures next week. Until we meet again, be careful of stormy seas. Always watch out for guiding lights. Have faith in love. And sleep well, my delicious darlings.